want to thank our sponsor, Parati's Quality Meats, located in Cranford, New Jersey, serving customers all over New Jersey for the past 50 years. Welcome, everyone. The Shore Football Report presents the coach's view from the sideline. And right over there, we got Coach Hoadley. And you know who I am. I don't need to be introduced with that. Welcome to Week 5, the greatest talk show in the area, Coach. And you know who says that? I just said it. So if you were wondering who says that, welcome back, Coach.
You're not the only one that's saying that, my friend. I mean, it's resounding throughout looking at the numbers this week, with the triple digits that we're getting viewed on YouTube. Obviously, we got a real big spike last week with having Coach Antonucci on celebrating his 200th win. But the coaches really seem, and the players as well for the Shore Conference, really seem to be latching on to getting our perspective as the alumni of players and coaches of really knowing what goes on between the lines and inside the locker room of our perspective of what we're doing. So it's really starting to steamroll, which I'm so humbled and honored to be a part of.
Coach, we do our tapings the night before everybody gets to see it. And boy, oh boy, I didn't realize it, but you were tired as heck last week. The Walking Dead people would say, what's wrong with them? They didn't realize we were up 11 at night. And I watched the last end of it, and boy, you were pretty tired.
Both of us had back-to-school nights in between taping some sessions, because I love to say that you and I just have a job of coaching or doing a podcast, but we're also back, we're in the field of education where kids come first, and you got to go to back-to-school night, then come home, and the professionalism that you bring to the table of having, okay, let's get back on the phone call. We have Coach Antonucci coming in at this time and then figuring out. But I will tell you this, by the time we're there, I was ready to hit the rack.
Yeah, it was great that Coach Antonucci came on after our teacher, our parent conference meetings and all that. So we did a lot to put that whole 2-hour show together. And today we got a special guest. We're going to talk a little Marlboro Mustang football. Jason Dagato. They're undefeated at 3-0, Coach.
Well deserved.
He's going to his alma mater to play against Coach Pigeon and the Central Golden Eagles 4-0. They are. That's a great game.
Great matchup.
Great game. And we'll talk more about that later on in the show. And we're excited to have a little Marlboro football being talked on our show right here, Coach. So let's talk about what this show is going to be about today. Of course, we're going to have our special guest, and he deserves to be here. Our weekly picks, Coach. And I'm gonna say this very proudly.
Stand on the soapbox. Go ahead.
I'm number one. I'm number one right now. 18-2 record. Last week I picked it. My record is 16-14. Am I talking enough about myself? Because I can still go on another hour to do it. Coach, you need anything? Just ask me, and I'll give you the answer. And I told you this week, when you're doing your selections, you need to look over my back when I'm writing this down and get the answers. You know what I'm saying? That's it. All right? So got to pick your game up, Coach. You are 4 behind me, and this is a big week. Big week right now.
Well, I will tell you this. I mean, looking at other media outlets, the numbers that we're producing for a record of picking teams for that respective week, compare our records to a lot of other people. Obviously, we know what we're talking about with what type of games are going to be played, where they're going to be played, what type of schematic of offense or defense are running. So, again, that just gives tribute to, the coach's view from the sideline, what teams are going to present week after week.
Yeah, I love talking to the coaches and hearing inside little stuff and, writing down those notes and going, okay, that's good. So-and-so's got a little twisted ankle. I ain't going to tell Coach Hoadley that one, but there you go. But every little tip really helps with that. But, yeah, I think we're all doing well. I mean, Coach Di Pasquale, 58 wins. You got 56. Again, I have 60. I don't know if I said that yet on the show. And Logan Germano's got 52, and then our fan vote's got 55. So, we're all doing okay. And, there's those upsets, though, that happen that surprise the world. But that's what makes it exciting, the Shore Conference. It really does.
Absolutely. Again, tribute to that's where the parity of the schedule comes into play throughout the year, that every once in a while each week it seems like 1 to 2 or 3 games. There's great matchups that could go swing either way.
And you know the rules is that I don't feel comfortable voting against or picking Barnegat. So because
Correct.
of that, every one of my staff gets to one bye on each
Yep.
game with that too, and that's fair.
Yes,
Because
I agree.
you don't want to pick games when you have a connection with the kids and all
Yep.
that stuff too, and all that and with that. Okay, Coach. Other things we're going to talk about, and we gotta talk about it because my phone's been ringing off the hook, and social media has been out there, and the news that happened yesterday with Donovan Catholic, have to forfeit, and now they're 0-4, and Donovan Catholic did a media release. They did a press release. So it's nothing that you and I are going to talk about that
Correct.
It's just hearsay. It's basically what the press release said. And
It's
maybe
public. Yep.
if there's ever something that I feel a little more better about is that it was administrative problem and not the football coach who you and I know very well,
Correct.
Coach Sergio and all that. So, I feel bad for the players and, of course, the coaches. It's a very tough situation, but I think they're going to bounce back in a very positive way. But that affects a lot of people right now, Coach. It really does.
So many teams that now those PowerPoints that were on the table with the Donovan Catholic non-public Group 3 team that are out there that you can be able to score those points.
Yeah.
That is a huge jump to their programs now when it starts to, you got to remember, we're more than halfway through our season right now.
Yeah. Coach, the average fan doesn't understand the PowerPoints. And there's a lot of coaches out there that don't understand the PowerPoints and the effects of different things. It's not a typical formula. It's a bunch of things marinated into one. I mean, the UPR, the United Power ranking, is a combined thing with your PowerPoints and your OS and your OSI.
And your OSI, correct.
Coach, and people don't realize this. Your OSI is the strength index of all your teams average.
Correct.
Now, with that being done and said, if you blow a team out, their OSI gets lower, and therefore it hurts you later on. Mm-hmm. It does. Yep. And that's 40% of your score. I'm pretty sure it's at this year, your OSI. So if you're beating a team by 50, you're lowering their SI down, which ultimately hurts you because you inherit it as the OSI. And
correct. That's a big misconception where people in the past thought, we're moving to almost like the college football type of thing. The more I beat up on a team, the better.
No.
It's opposite. It's a detriment to you to be able to do that because it's not showing the strength of the team that you played.
Yeah. The bottom line is if you beat a team by 1 point, I don't care if it's an upset or it's a game that you should have won by a lot, you're doing yourself a favor because you're enhancing your OSI with that.
Absolutely agree.
Coach, the coaches that take knees at the 1 yard line with a minute and a half left when you can punch it in are doing the smart thing for two reasons. A, it's good for sportsmanship, and B, it's good for your OSI. It really is.
Right, and I think you touched on the first part. Most important, it's about class.
Yeah.
It's about doing the right thing for your kids, teaching them life lessons. Listen, we're all part of a strong alumni of high school football.
Yeah.
There's no need to beat down someone if you need to. 100%.
Now, with the PowerPoints, and we're going to talk about that next week, and I'm going to do a breakdown of how it goes and all that. But there's a multiplier. And what happens in the state of New Jersey, certain parochial schools, and you know as well as I do,
absolutely,
okay, are given a benefit of playing a parochial school that's very powerful. Donovan Catholic is in one of the tiers of giving out multipliers for PowerPoints. An example, there's no residuals when you play a Donovan Catholic or RBC. You are given 42 points if you beat them, and you give them 28 PowerPoints if you lose. And you cannot get that with a 7-win team that you beat, Coach, those type of PowerPoints. So there's no residuals. So what happens with Tom Driver North and Colts Neck, instead of getting 28 points because they thought they lost, they just got 42.
They jumped to 42. Correct.
42. And with that being said, Tom driven North, if they beat two more teams with 3 wins, they're going to make the playoffs because
Absolutely.
the enhancer of the multiplier is going to help them out. And it really does change the whole landscapes of the state playoffs. It really does. So we'll talk more about how the PowerPoints go because we really need to really set a section just for that, Coach. And we'll go on the board and show everybody all the do's and that. But your PowerPoints is an average. It's an average. It's like basketball. So you take your PowerPoints, divide it by how many games, and it's a points per game. Because not everybody plays the same amount of games. You might play 8 in the cutoff, 7 or 9, whatever
Correct.
it is.
Well said. Well said.
Yep. And then it's crazy. That coach is a 15, 20-minute dialogue, and we're not going to do that. But the PowerPoints are going to be affecting big time other people. But with Donovan Catholic now, it's interesting because they were 5 in the non-public.
In the UPI, correct.
Coach, I'm going to be honest right now. Now that them going 0-4, they have a mountain to climb to get that 8 slot in that division because they only have 2 groups now. They don't have 3 like they did in the past. So that's going to be really, really tough. And to talk about will they be playing in the short conference Final Four, we're going to talk about that next week. There's no reason to talk now. Let everything digest. Let these other teams play, and then we'll kind of talk about their situation when that happens. But we do know that they are one of the top 4 teams in the short conference. Without a doubt, they are. We don't know what the committee's going to go with that, but on the field, they're dynamic.
And again, to reiterate what you're stating, Coach, I mean, we're only talking about what and I mean everyone. My phone was blowing up yesterday, as well as I know your phone was blowing up.
Yeah.
Of when statements came out and when decisions came down. I mean, we're only giving a view from a coach's view of what it entails and how it incorporates into other teams' schedules and what could happen with them down the season. I mean, this really involved a lot of teams that can swing towards the positive and a team that can swing towards the negative.
Coach, you hear about this happening a lot more than you think, forfeiting games, but because of the magnitude of Donovan Catholic, and they were the 13th ranked team in the state of New Jersey, of course it's going to be front page of the Star Ledger with that. But it happens more than you know about with that. So unfortunately, that's a situation that is not a very good situation on a lot of ends. It really is. But I'm thinking about Donovan football program, the kids and the coaches who I do know very well and all that, and I do respect them, and wishing the best for them, and let everybody move on, and hopefully everything happens for the best at the end. It really does. But it was nice that the administration admitted that it was the administration's fault because they put that in the press release. So,
I agree.
So we're thinking about those guys, and we'll talk more about that next week, Coach, with that. We will also talk about the recap of last week's games and some pretty interesting games. And I was at one game live, and it was a very good game. I'll talk more about that. We will have the coaches' top 20 rankings. 2 new teams come in. A bunch of teams move around. Again, 26 coaches voted, and I want to thank them. Every one of them. Every one of those coaches who's watching right now, I want to thank them. Great. A head coach or an assistant coach gets 1 vote for each program, and 26 coaches getting them to do that, Coach, during the grind of their football season says a lot about them. Listen, after 4 votes, it's pretty concrete. We're getting 26, Coach. 26. Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah, I agree with you. And in looking at the top 20 that came out after all of us have voted, obviously you, myself, and you, and the other 2 have votes on it. There was some movement going on this week. I mean, there were some big games that were won by some programs that made a big jump, and there was also some losses that dropped a couple teams. But again, we're giving an unbiased view of what your peers are thinking of where you're sitting in that level.
It's awesome because when they get it, they do it. They don't ask questions, they answer it. But if you watch the points on the side of it, Coach, there's a lot of teams close to jumping over them. Even the teams that missed the top 20, they're right on the edge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's some very competitive jockeying going on in the top 20. And after this week, too, more things are going to get clearer for down the road. And there's a lot of teams that had tough schedules in the beginning that are going to come out with some wins, and all of a sudden they're going to rise back in the top 20, I think so too. We're going to talk division races quickly because now there are some big games this weekend, some big games next weekend that's going to solidify who wins division championships, Coach. Really interesting games. We'll do it, but we're going to give a little bit of a divisions races segment right there. And of course, at the end, we're going to talk about next week's games, which is always exciting. And we get to talk a little bit about our breakdowns of each game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You got anything else to add, Coach?
Well, I've got to say that you and our wives must have talked because we're pretty damn close on the shirts that we picked to wear tonight.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep with the theme here. I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the past week 4. Let's go.
They had a Hawaiian day at Barnegat. That was the theme. And boy, I stepped up, man. You know that. Don't give me a reason to wear a Hawaiian shirt because I'm wearing it. All right, Coach. Now let's do a recap of every single football game that happened in the short conference. That's the difference with our segments and others, is that we talk about all 42 teams.
We talk about all short conference football programs.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. I think our fan base knows the routine that we do. So let's not disappoint them right now. All right. American Division, we had the number 7 team that got on the winning end. I can't believe I'm saying that. The winning end. We're talking about Wall. Wall got on the winning end this year with their first win, beating Tom Driver North, who was the 20th ranked team, 36-0. And the big storyline was Charlie Sasso came back from an injury, and Matt Dolliv ran for 3 touchdowns. Jake Davis, Lou Pila had a great game defensively, and it was exciting time in Wall to get back on the winning ways. And I think that this is going to be a start of something big with another winning streak, Coach.
Yeah, I think it's obvious that bye week last week really helped the Wall Crimson Knights, really start to heal up a little bit, lick their wounds, and then get back into the schematic game plan that I know Coach Bellina does, especially with defense, by pitching a shutout, obviously getting back probably one of the top-ranked linebackers in the state of New Jersey in Sasso.
Yeah.
Against a good Toms River North team, even though they're young, Toms River North has already shown this season that they can put up points, but to be able to come out there with a 36-0 win shows that Wall is a legitimate team.
Yeah. Toms River North is going to be a team to be reckoned with next year with all their sensational underclassmen back. I think they have 3 seniors that play. So they're going to be a team that's going to be scary in the future. Number 3, Donovan Catholic, that we talked about earlier, defeated number 4, Colts Neck, convincingly 35-0, Coach, at Colts Neck. There's a kid by the name of Kyrie Drake. I don't know if you heard of him.
I've heard of him a little bit.
Okay, and I think he's got some speed too. Is that true?
He is a legitimate speed burner I've seen personally on the practice and football field.
Wow. Yeah, and he's having a tremendous season, and he showed it in his game. He had 3 touchdowns. Running back Nunez Bukla got on track, 230 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Butler is one of the top athletes in the short conference, 155 yards throwing and 2 touchdowns. Coach, I'm going to say one thing. No, Coach LaBarca does the same thing I did, and I always get grilled. He runs the jet sweep. I got to ask Chip this. And he flips it. Gets it and flips it. That's a pass. That's a pass. So and when I was coaching, people would argue with me. I didn't see 150 yards, but you saw the jet sweep, right? And that would be like, they said you're padding your stats. Does it matter when the kid's going 80 yards? It doesn't matter, right? But they run it real well, the jet sweep. They really do, Donovan Catholic. And the difference in this game was speed. Speed. And Donovan Catholic has the speed, but they also have the horses inside to match up with Colts Neck and kind of won very convincing at Colts Neck. That was an impressive win, Coach.
Yeah, the impressive part on the defensive side is that a team that prides itself by putting their hand down on the ground to be able to run the football, held Colts Neck to 65 yards of offense.
Offense, yeah.
And Colts Neck has been, between the Vitality Boy and a couple others, they've been putting up 200 to 300 yards rushing a game. So, that's a credit to DC's defense, But, Colts Neck, it's their first loss of the season. Now giving back, obviously, what you and I previously talked about. Colts Neck is a legitimate program. They're going to be really talked about when it comes down for the state rankings to go into that, Group 4 part for Colts Neck. So I would not be surprised to see Colts Neck make a run towards state.
Yeah, that was a big high magnitude football game that Donovan Catholic came out victorious on the road. Number 6, Middletown South in overtime beat number 8 Manalapan 13-7, and
we called it that this possibly could be the game of the week.
And I'll tell you what, something about being a special guest on our show, it's a little magic because every time somebody comes on this show, you're a winner. I don't know what it is, but you're a winner. And Coach Antonucci got one game closer to 300. One game closer.
At 201.
He's at 201. He's closer to 300 now. He really is. Tommy Shork threw a 14-yard touchdown pass to the outstanding tight end DN, Jack Latour, in overtime. What a great year. Coach, there's a kid out there that he's only a sophomore, and he is blowing it up. And his name's Colin Gallagher. Yep. He's just blown it up. And, I mean, big-time Division I football player, potentially this kid could be, and only a sophomore. Beat a Manalapan team that I think is going to be there right to the end. Very veteran team. They can throw the ball, run the ball. They have their dudes all up front. Just a well-rounded football team, well-coached. Coach, when you're talking an overtime win, it could have gone either way. Don't count out Manalapan to still throw a monkey wrench in that division right there. But 13-7 win against Manalapan was huge for Coach Antonucci and the Middletown South football team, Coach.
100%. The game played at Manalapan on a Friday night. Coming down to a 6th-ranked Middletown South team versus 7th and 8th-ranked Manalapan team. And it's a 6-point difference in an overtime. You can't get any closer than that. Manalapan is a great football team. There's nothing to be ashamed of with that game. Manalapan's going to definitely make some headway this year.
Yep. Down in Manahawkin, you had number 5 Southern Regional Rams, 28-7, beating the Homedale Hornets. Now, Homedale is a product of their tough schedule that they have right now. They're playing some juggernaut teams, and Southern Regional is one of them. Southern is climbing into, and again, all these rankings are the rankings from last week. We didn't even go over it, but Southern is moving up the charts. Jaden Brown, 165 yards, 3 touchdowns. It seems like you could just pencil that in every game. He kind of, the one thing about Coach Donahue is he doesn't overwork a kid during the course of a game. He kind of spreads it out, or to me, he's almost like pacing the kid for the playoffs. There really is. Nate Committee, just a veteran, all-shore returner back on D-line, doing a great job on the D-line. Just a veteran football team, Southern Regional is. Outstanding football coach, play to their defense, outstanding run game, Division I kid and Jaden Brown. Huge win for them in Manahawkin, and that's going to build up a key matchup. We'll talk about that later in the division races with that, Coach. Agree?
Yep. Defensively, though, you got to give credit to them. They had a 21-0 score at halftime, and it was 28-0 entering the fourth quarter. So I think it's starting to feel with Coach Rannis with Homedale, with the increase in schedule with the Group 5 power like Southern. Yeah. That's where they're at right now. But again, they were competitive. It's 28-7 final, But Homedale's going to be maybe better off for it down the road.
The one thing I like about Coach Donahue is that he never lets the score get to be a certain way.
Correct.
And he knows when to take his foot off the pedal and take certain kids out and spread the wealth a little bit. He does a great job with that. And how could you disagree with something like that? He's always doing the right stuff with that. Red Bank came out with a huge win against Ocean, 28-6, beat the Big Red. That surprised me big time. It surprised everybody. And don't say it didn't do that. Coach Fallon right now is on a 2-game winning streak at his new school over there with the Bucks. And this kid, Pierce Olson, came in because their quarterback, Grassi's out, was injured. Threw a 30-yard touchdown pass to Jasier Jones and Lamar Hicks. Just did a great job. Just a really great job. The Spartans are a good football team, and it kind of surprised me with this game. I thought they were going to come up on top with that, but it says a lot about Shane Fallon and his staff with that new quarterback coming in and doing an outstanding job because they have a very good pass offense, Coach. They really do.
it says a lot about the fact that the kids are buying into the program culture that Coach Fallon is starting to impose over at Red Bank Regional with the Buccaneers. I mean, that's a big time win to have to play Ocean, and we said it every week. Ocean is a very dangerous team to be able to come out there and perform the way they did and execute. Credit to Coach Fallon and the staff.
Coach, Ocean is a program.
Absolutely.
And when you're a program, anytime you beat a program, even if they have 10 wins or 0 wins, that's a notch in your belt because Coach Klein does an excellent job every year there. And don't feel sorry for Ocean. They got a lot of young talent there, and they're going to be a tough team to be playing in the second half of the season, Coach. I'll say that. Number 2, Red Bank Catholic won an impressive game at Manasquan, the number-ranked team, 41-7. Just Red Bank Catholics in another league right now. They really are at another level. Sabino Portella, again, they're spreading the wealth. Alex Brown had another big day. Lorenzo Portella, Sabino's brother, had 5 pancakes. And we're not talking about IHOP. We're not talking about IHOP, Coach. That kid is a stud in the trenches right there. They got some dudes, Red Bank Catholic, and they're playing some really good football right now.
Yeah, this game really showed me that Red Bank against a quality, and I can't say it enough, quality Manasquan Warrior team with Coach Sella's offense, which he's now installed over there. That Red Bank, there's so many weapons between Portella and Cooper at running back and Brown at quarterback, Bauman at tight end, then Rahman at wide receiver. There's just so many weapons you have to account for over there. And they play great defense too. I mean, RBC really started to put a notch to show you how strong they could possibly be this year. Red
Bank Catholic is going to be a team to contend with in the state playoffs. They're in that lower half of the non-public, Coach. And again, we'll talk about that next week because they beat a Manasquan team that will be in the playoffs and making some noise. Yeah, 41-7 on the road. Big win for the Caseys. Number 12, Freehold, beat Toms River East 35-7. Very convincing win after a loss against Long Branch. I know they weren't very happy with the loss. They got winning ways in their program, and Kamor Gill, another big day. He does it all for him. He does it. And we say he does it all because he's in empty, and he's throwing and running the football for over 100 yards on both passing and rushing. I think he had, 4 touchdowns, what did it say?
4. Yep.
4. Yep. J.J. Johnson had 3 sacks on defense. They're playing really well. Had a little bump in the road against a very good Long Branch football team. So that was a very impressive win, 35-7, Coach.
Yeah, that just screamed bounce back leadership to me with that team and the staff. They had a bump in the road, like you said, about, losing to a Long Branch team that, obviously is playing emotionally all this year for Coach George, but they came back, went back to business, and, resoundingly defeated Toms River East.
St. John Vianney's on a 2-game winning streak, 46-7, beat Toms River South at South. I know they have talent. You know they have talent. They're putting it together. Big build-up for the game that's going to be happening next week against Donovan Catholic. They're playing very good ball, playing very good defense. Very good defense. The Casey's, St. John Vianney is doing it, and they spread it out. We know they have a lot of speed. They're going to need it the next week. They really are. The kid Antonio Rosado has been playing very good football with just kind of managing the game right now. But when they let him loose with the run game, it's going to be just another different level that I think their offense will be at. But 46 points against the Toms River South team on the road, it's not too shabby.
No, St. John Vianney is a scary team right now. It seems like the last couple weeks they have it clicking, especially with who you've lauded so many times, the running back Pete Pizzullo. Who had 2 touchdowns and 127 yards only on 10 carries. But I think you said it best with Rosado. He's starting, and I saw it firsthand last year in the game, he's starting to learn and mature how to just manage a game as a quarterback, when to be able to run the ball when he needs to, when to complete a pass when he needs to, or when to just accept a sack or throw the ball away and retain possession of a game. St. John Vianney starting to put things together.
Yep. Number 14, Middletown North, impressive win. 42-7 versus Howell, quarterback, the 6'4" quarterback, Tommy Janone, 4 touchdown passes, had over 280 yards passing, 2 touchdowns to Levi Wilson. Very, very impressive win that was. for Middletown North. I was very impressed watching them against Lacey. They could just as well be undefeated. Very good football team that they have. A lot of good playmakers. That's an impressive win. I love when teams can throw the football down the field to many different kind of receivers too, Coach.
Yeah, same thing I just spoke about with St. John Vianney. They had a bump in the road last week. North comes back leaning on their senior leadership. Brian Haddow had 1 touchdown running, 1 touchdown reception as well with their senior quarterback who had 4 touchdown passes. They came right back, licked their wounds, got right back to the game plan, and kept their senior season going. So that's a team that's going to be well worked down
Coach,
the road.
And I know you're D coordinator. You love defensive plays. Levi Wilson had 2 touchdowns on offense, but he also had 2 interceptions on defense.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we definitely do. That's a well-rounded player right there. Yeah. Number 19, Brick, in their rival game against Brick Memorial, won 36-18. A typical Brick Memorial game, physical. The score got a little widened at the end of the game, but it was close right down, to the fourth quarter. AJ Grigel threw 2 touchdown passes, which is very rare at Brick this year because they like to pound it. And Darian Newcomb had a touchdown return as a D lineman. That's very special, you being a D line coach, when that happens, huh?
No. There's nothing better to see the big guys rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, and getting themselves in that pay dirt, man. I love to see that.
I love the practice the next day because they're the first one to practice because they can't wait to watch the film or to strut their stuff. But there's nothing that elevates a team when a D lineman scores a touchdown.
Yep.
And Darian Newcomb, don't make any mistakes about it. He's not all finesse. He's physical too.
He's one of the best defensive linemen in the shore.
One of the best Division I football player. And Brick right now is 3-1, beat a very feisty Mustangs team at Brick Memorial. So that's always a big win right there. Matawan 13-6 versus Neptune. Real tough game. David Anua, 215 yards rushing, 15 tackles. Mike linebacker, Coach. That was a big win for Matawan. Evens out their record at 2-2. Neptune's getting closer and closer. They're biting right to the wire. They're a dangerous team, and in that division, you snooze, that team could no doubt beat you because they're getting better.
Yeah, I made that note as well, Coach. That's a quality Matawan team that's 500 right now. They had a good signature win week 1, and then come back and have another great win this week. But Neptune was within 6 points of this game right here too. So it's starting to see that, Coach Duffy and Coach Pugh and the rest of the staff over there, they're starting to get the Flyers to start to play up the game. So Neptune is definitely not a team to sleep on.
No, when you get scores like that, a touchdown here or there, the next week it could change.
Either way.
It could change big time with that. One of the hottest teams and one of the surprise teams is Marlboro.
Great story.
Last week, they were number 18, giving you a little hint, maybe a little bit up. Number 18, Marlboro, beat Friel Township in a tough one, 20-16, back and forth. And A.J. Schwartz had had 110 rushing yards at quarterback, 1 touchdown. But the star of the day was Zach Mendez at running back, linebacker, Coach. 114 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 14 tackles, interception, touchdown, 1 caused fumble, and a partridge ginger pear tray. No, good.
Yeah,
but what a performance.
You want to write down a dictionary what a complete football player is in a complete game. They have 114 yards rushing and a touchdown on the offensive side, but come back on the defensive side, 14 tackles, an interception that gave you a +6, and then a caused fumble as well. That's a kid, and we've talked about the Mendez brothers. You really did a lot of scouting on them to say, Marlboro, this is a great story, and you really can't be more happier than one of the good guys in Shore Conference and Coach Dagato that we'll have a talk with later on.
Yeah, just really what a performance by Marlboro to set up the big game for this week, Coach. Asbury Park, 28-3 versus Jackson Liberty. Setting up a big matchup again. Blue Bishops won their first game against that hot Red Bank team. You can say what you want, but a win's a win, and Red Bank was a quality win for Asbury Park. And Asbury Park's I'm watching film on them this week. They got athletes all on the perimeter. They have different guys that can run the ball. Don't make a mistake, though, but Jashawn Carter exploded for 243 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, but they have different receivers that can step up and a quarterback. And a quarterback, Brown, the junior, awesome looking specimen, 6'5" quarterback. They're scary. They really are a scary football team, and that was a good win for them against Jackson Liberty, Coach.
Yeah, they're on the defensive side of the ball. Javon King, had 9 tackles, a sack, two TFLs, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. They got it going on over at the Blue Bishops, and they put them right back in there with a 2-2 right now. A win over a good Group 3 school in Jackson Liberty, so that's a good quality win for the Blue Bishops.
Yeah, Carter ripped off an 86-yard touchdown, and when you get guys that can score from 86, he also had a 52-yard touchdown. That's scary because you got to have 3 levels on defense, Coach, or else he's going to break it. And I mean, if you take that free safety out and put him, on the second level,
him down in the box, exactly, you got a problem.
You got to keep 3 levels because he's going to break the 2 levels, and you better have a safety out there, or else it's going to be touchdown real quick with Asbury Park. Shore Regional, First Southern Regional, the 17th ranked team, Barnegat.
It's going to be a tough game. You said it was going to be a tough
game. I was there, and and Barnegat's beaten Shore 4 years in a row, and it's been a rivalry. It really hasn't. This was no different. It came down to the last possession. Jamie Mazzacco is as good as anybody. Coach, I can say this. This kid's an all-shore football player. Where, I don't know, but he's got to be on there.
And credit to you. You've been lauding this kid from day one with your previews.
Coach, he's a wrestler. And those multi-sport athletes. They're tough. This kid right here, he plays quarterback. He's running the football from the quarterback, running the power option. Mm-hmm. Then they put him at tailback. He runs power, getting the ball handed off to him. He was getting the football every play. And he plays Mike linebacker. And he's got a bunch of young pups around him that listen to him. So you know what that tells me? He's a leader. He's a leader on the field and off the field. And that was a huge win.
Forget, too, that he kicked 2 extra points.
Yeah, he did. He did it all. He even held it, too, for himself. But Jamie Mazzacco's a football player that could play on any level in the Shore Conference. Group 1 right to Group 5. He really can. Barnegat was in there 3-0, and Barnegat's still a good football team.
Absolutely.
Shore kind of took it to him in this game and made it known that Shore is going to be a team for Group 1 to contend with in the state playoffs. Very impressive win against were 2 good teams. It really was. And that what I was talking about with the PowerPoints, Coach, you take a knee. Shore took a knee inside the 5-yard line at the end of the game where the fans wanted to punch it in, but that was smart for 2 reasons: sportsmanship and also the OSI. So that was very smart right there.
Very good point.
Number 16, Point Borough, 48-14 versus an athletic Manchester team. Point Borough's rolling right now. They're starting to be old school Point Borough. And this offensive backfield may be the best Point Borough had in years. It really has. Their quarterback, Vitali, Croce, the A-back. You got Siliento as a wing and Oliphant, the sophomore. They're all underclassmen except the quarterback. And here's what's scary about Point Borough. In the past, their triple option, they never got to the 3rd phase. Now they're getting to the 3rd phase, and I mean the 3rd phase, meaning it's either the fullback, quarterback, and now they're optioning.
Now the pitch option.
And that's what's separating them this year and the other years is they're doing that 3rd phase, and it's scary what they're doing. But their offensive line is very physical. Their defense is very aggressive, and they're playing good ball right now. They're on a bye week, and they're scary. Matt Oliphant had a 91-yard kick return touchdown. That kid with the ball in his hand is dynamic right there. He really is. But a lot of good stuff. Croce had over 100 yards, and they're just playing solid football right now. There's a lot of energy on those sidelines. Point Borough, you can't hide enthusiasm, and that's what they got right now. They really do.
It just seems to me, I keep echoing the same thing about Point Borough, that this is probably one of the most dangerous teams in the Shore Conference right now. Yeah. Every week they seem to be putting up monster points, and they're doing it on the ground.
Yeah.
So when it comes time, and you and I both know, Coach, when we start going into late October, early November, when it starts getting cold and the wind starts whipping around, you better be able to do two things: play defense and run the football. Yeah. And it looks like Point Barrow has those two things right now.
And wear your gloves. So, okay, you forgot that one. That's important.
Yeah.
Keensburg, 27-15, beat Point Beach. I have trouble saying this guy's name, Michaela Brathwaite. Is that pronounced?
Braithwaite.
Okay, I got to give him a nickname. All right, good.
Go ahead.
But I don't know what it is, but I know it's going to be something good. Ran for 80 yards.
I'll give you his nickname. Good. That's it. He's good.
80. Just had a great game. He had 19 tackles on defense, which is something because he was Defensive Player of the Year in the division last year.
Mm-hmm.
DeJuan Weems had 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was good for Keensburg to get back on the winning ways, even up the record at 2-2 against a rival school in Point Beach that comes to play every week. They really do.
I mean, both you and I have talked about how special the Braithwaite kid is at quarterback.
Yeah.
Comes back on defense, he records 19 tackles.
Yeah.
19 tackles. I mean, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed that Keensburg, I mean, obviously with a little bit of a slow start with the SIP, they're back to 2-2 and 1-2 in the division. So I'm sure that Coach Bird, who's been there a long time installing their coachers, is making a big push towards that Group 1 state playoff run.
Yeah. Talk about almost an upset. It was upset alert.
Ooh.
Down at Pinelands, Keyport squeaked out a 17-14 win against a Pinelands team that was hungry for an upset.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah, they did. And, Coach, there was a sophomore that I want to talk about the Pinelands kid first, that Mike Frawley, a sophomore, was one-on-one with DJ Thompson and discouraged the big play. Let's just say discouraged because you can't stop that kid. Discouraged him. Says a lot. He's a sophomore.
But he contained them.
So, Doran, good schemes, too, by for Joe Adelisi, the D coordinator there. But George Mitchell had a 35-yard touchdown pass to Zyvon Crank with 10:50 left that helped them prevail against Pinelands. Listen, when you're playing good football the way Keyport is doing, and then you almost need that game where you kind of squeak it out to get back into reality and say, let's go after it. Because Pinelands is stingy. Pinelands is stingy. They'll smack you.
Inside a phone booth.
They'll smack you around. They really will. They're hungry. They got a lot of young guys, a lot of puppies, a lot of juniors, a lot of sophomores. So that could have been a real big win for them. But it also gave Pinelands a lot of confidence for the rest of the year where they can maybe have a say in a division race. They really can.
Not to say that we know more than others, but we understand as coaches that special teams plays 1/3 of the football game. George Mitchell hits a 28-yard field goal against Pinelands. There's your 3 points that end up winning the game, 17-14. It shows that Keyport now, they're 4-0.
Yeah.
They're clicking on specials, defense, and offense.
I got to say one thing about DJ Thompson. No, he didn't have all those big plays offensively, but he had 10 tackles and 4 hits behind the line of scrimmage. So he definitely made his name.
Made his presence known.
He did. Coach Monmouth is undefeated in the division, 36-6 versus Lakewood. This kid, Anthony Jen, the junior, 237 yards passing with 4 touchdown passes. They're playing really good football right now, offensively and also defensively. And they're getting more confidence as each week comes in. Scary, really scary. Yeah. But Monmouth Falcons are doing real well.
This is setting up a big matchup between the Monmouth, Falcons against the Keyport Red Raiders coming down the road here which I'm sure you and I are going to get into when we talk about divisions.
Oh, we will. Yes, we will. Number 1, Rumson played a stingy number 10 Lacey football team.
This was a great football game.
Coach, it was 14-6 at halftime.
Yep.
Was I surprised? Not really, because I know what Lacey's capable of. But at the end, Rumson wears you down. They only play one side of the ball, and they're very good on both sides of the ball. Lacey's physical. G.F. Schroeder, 250 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Lacey scored the first points off of Rumson, which was huge, on a flea flicker. Noah Bernetti to Michael Abode, two good football players, really good, but Rumson just had too much depth, and they came out, with an impressive win. They needed that. To be kind of pushed a little bit. But at the end, 28-6, says a lot about the Rumson football team. Really does.
It does, and I think it also says a lot about the Lacey Lions as well. You know, that Rumson is a resounding number one ranked team in our coaches' top 20, and they were in this game. Yep. Lacey is a great team this year, and you know, Coach Versillo's already got his 300th win under his belt, but obviously the Lacey team is going to be the Lacey of old this year, pushing towards a good run competitively into the state championships.
Yeah. That was a non-divisional game. Both teams may be division champs at the end of the season.
Yeah,
and you just saw the difference in, what Rumson's all about. Rumson's special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rumson's special. And you said that in the beginning too. Yeah. Number 11, Long Branch is rolling on the Danny George retirement tour.
Yeah.
Farewell tour, right?
Yeah.
35-21 against a Jackson football team that you and I both know are a very tough football team. Just happened to be playing the top teams in the short conference. I was told by the coaching staff, how well is Long Branch going to be this year? They said, we're going to go as far as Christian Rodriguez takes us.
Yeah.
Let me add this, 270 yards passing. Coach, five touchdown passes, 5 different receivers.
5 different wide receivers.
5 different wide receivers. And they're playing excitable football. And that's really good to know because, they're not going to let one go because Danny George is on his farewell tour. So I'm excited for the Green Wave with that one. But Jackson,
credit to Jackson Memorial and the Jags and the whole culture there. I mean, they've had a lot of hard luck games. Two games that they lost by 1 point. That schedule that Jackson Memorial has been handed this year. I'm not trying to make a comparison, but that's like an SEC schedule for a high school short conference team. What they've had to go up against, and they're not calling it in, or they're not saying okay, they played a Long Branch team 35-21. That's a tough football games. I mean, credit to them that they're playing football the hardest way that they can.
Yeah, they got some players there too that, when the schedule gets a little softer, you're going to see some wins.
I agree.
Right back to there. Coach, the game in Monmouth County that everybody was following was Central Raritan, number 13 Central. Beat Raritan, number 15's ranked Raritan at their place, 41-17. Now, people better start taking this kid seriously. Chase Gumpert, 288 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 37 carries. The kid's not a big kid, but he's got a big heart. He really does.
Yeah.
They got some linemen up front, Coach. They really do. They're playing good football defensively. Right now, they're made to win a division champ or to also make a run in the state playoffs. They got a great defense, a great run game. Now they have to just add a pass game, when needed and all that, and they're going to be sitting pretty good right now. But right now, full of confidence, a lot of excitement over there in Bayville. Really is, Coach.
Listen, newsflash, Central Regional Eagles are for real. To go in there and for the third time this year, hit 200 yards or more in rushing at a home field like Raritan, where it is tough to play. Trust me. And they're coached up by Coach Petruzzi.
Yeah.
Central Regional is for real.
That was a big win against 2 teams that are being in the playoffs, no doubt, Coach. That's good, Coach. Again, I got to say this. You ready? This is what I think of week 4. All right, Coach. Week 5 coaches' top poll just came out today. All the coaches, 26 coaches voted on it. But let me say this. I would say 90% of the votes came in before the news broke out about Donovan Catholic.
Correct.
They did. All right. So not saying it would change either way or whatever, but who knows what next week presents? I don't know. But that's what happened right there. So the votes came in 90% because most of the coaches turned it in on Sunday and early Monday.
Sunday to Monday. Yep.
Right. Cool. All right. Good. Now, Coach, what do you think? Who were the big drops? Who were the big risers?
Well, the big risers I had this week is the Green Wave with Coach George farewell tours. Mm-hmm. Last week ranked 11, moving up to 8, jumping 3 spots. Mm-hmm. Again, what we talked about in our previous part with Central with a huge win this week against Raritan. jumping up 3 spots from 13 to breaking the top 10 now.
Yeah.
Undefeated 4-0.
Yeah.
2 non-ranked teams in St. John Vianney and Shore Regional breaking back into the top 20.
Yeah. It's always nice. It's always nice to see new people come in. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then on the negative side, obviously Colts Neck with the loss to Donovan Catholic, which is obviously reversed.
Yeah.
Right now with them dropping from 4 to 7, but Raritan, which was ranked 15 last week, playing obviously a Central team that's ready to go, dropping from 15 down to 20.
Yeah, Coach, if you look at the number 7 and 8 ranked teams, 1 point separates them. So that tells me that a lot of people are high on Long Branch right now. And there's a chance Long Branch keeps this going, are going to find themselves in a situation where people are going to talk about them at the end of the year. Will they be the top 4 slots in the Shore Conference tournament?
Right, and from 18, 19, and 20, there's a difference of 5 points from the 18th ranked team to the 20th ranked team. So again, you get no greater respect, or you get told the truth when it comes from your peers. These are our peers that are voting on this that's coming through. So this is as legitimate of a top 20 as you could possibly have. And there's some teams right on the outside that are banging on the door right now.
Oh, Coach, there's teams on others receiving votes that are banging on the door, and those teams on the bottom of the top 20 have to win because they know that those other teams are fighting real hard. Very interesting, very competitive Shore Conference this year. A lot of parity. But I'm excited to see after these next couple weeks how this unfolds with the teams right here. And this is you're gonna see a lot of these teams playing each other in the pods and all that stuff. That's gonna be exciting. Yeah. We'll talk about that next week, Coach. Nice job with the coaches top 20. All right, Coach, let's have some fun. Let's briefly talk about some division races and how it's panning out in each division. First, with the American, I have Rumson as that front runner of winning the division title. Yes, Colts Neck is undefeated right now, but they do have to play Rumson, and I kind of think Rumson is the ongoing favorite right there. And Donovan Catholic can beat some teams, but right now it's Rumson's. It's Rumson's.
Yeah,
they already played Wall. It's up to Colts Neck to beat Rumson. I don't see it right now. I just see Rumson right now kind of, they seem to be in cruise control right now. They're doing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Rumson Fairhaven, I said it from week 1, was just going to have a special season. You could see from the amount of numbers, that they have playing on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
The coaching that's going on over there. I saw it firsthand. They're just they're a special team that's really engulfed in a special season right now.
Coach, the Colonial starting to heat up. Manalapan, Middletown South last week, they had to separate. So Manalapan lost in overtime to Middletown South. Now Middletown South and Southern, it looks like, there isn't a front runner. There isn't a front runner. I saw 3 teams. I saw Manalapan, Southern, and Middletown South. Now, could it be a try? It could be. If one team beat the other and the other one beat the other, that could happen. That can happen. But first and foremost, Middletown South and Southern have to play each other and then worry about the other team losing in the other game with that. But that's a 3-man race right now, and it looks like the Middletown South and Southern got the inside track, with Manalapan ready to kind of make it a try. Very interesting.
Could you script anything better, Coach Davis, with Coach Donahue going up against Coach Antonucci? Really, that's 2 of the most classiest, respected, winningest coaches that we have in the Shore Conference. It really echoes what's going on in that division.
Yeah, Constitution right now is this is one of the division that seems like it's not as open as the other ones.
No,
yep. These are good teams all in it, but Red Bank Catholic is at another level right now.
Yeah.
They really are. To the point where I don't even think they should be in this division. They should be somewhere else. That's another talk. But Red Bank Catholic.
I can honestly speak about that. Obviously, if my team that I coached last year was playing, that's why Red Bank Catholic was dropped into this division. Yeah. If it was announced a little earlier, Red Bank Catholic might have been moved up a division. I can be honest, we're not hypocrites. That's why we're a great talk show.
Yeah.
We speak the truth.
Yeah, that should have happened.
But obviously, Red Bank Catholic is the absolute pride of that division right now.
Yeah, it really is, and it's not taking anything away from the other teams. Red Bank Catholic looks like they're going to go on and win that title right there. Federal Division, Long Branch separated themselves by beating Freehold Borough. They've already beat St. John Vianney. They to me looks like they're looking right at a championship right now. They just got to play East and South in the division. They're kind of rolling right now. They are. I don't see them losing to those other two teams. I really don't.
That St. John Vianney went from Long Branch, and that's why the way the conference, we noticed it last year, Coach, and I know you were a part of it, the divisional games that take place so early in the season take on such relevance of how important they are to be able to get those wins. That St. John Vianney win, that Long Branch had is a really big win now that St. John Vianney is starting to come along.
Yeah, Long Branch played two big games in their division early, and they're sitting okay. And Lacey Township now in the Independence after beating Middletown North and Brick, two of the top teams there. They're kind of on top right now, and it's Lacey's job, to keep it rolling. They just got to play Brick Memorial and Howell. To me, right now, they're the front runner.
I agree with you. I think Lacey has shown that with the games that they've played, as competitive as they played, Lacey's in control of that division right now. Not to say that somebody can't, play an upset, but Lacey's really starting to stretch their legs right now.
Yeah, like you said, not saying that there can't be an upset, but right now I think Lacey is the front runner for their body of work, what they did the last couple of weeks. Liberty Division this weekend, Central Marlboro. To me, it's for the championship. So big game for both those two teams, and we'll have Coach on our talk show, and it's both teams are undefeated.
And I think it's awesome, Rob, and I don't mind saying it. I'll be honest. I would never have said, "Hey, listen, myself and Coach Davis are gonna week 4 going to be talking about possibly Central and Marlboro are going to be playing for control of this division." I think that's awesome for Shore Conference football.
Yeah.
That shows that every year, every team has a shot to be able to control that division. I think it's great for Shore Conference.
Yeah, that's going to be an outstanding game, and we'll talk more about that next week. The results of that game. So Central Marlboro, the winner there, is going to be the champs there. National Division, you have Keyport and Monmouth. That was a very open division. Yep. Both teams are undefeated in the division, and it's their job to win. It's going to be a good game, Keyport and Monmouth, with that. But that was a very open division, like we were talking about it before. Both teams are, enjoying their winning seasons right now.
Yeah, and I think this is exactly what you predicted as well as I, that there was going to be a Group 3 team that was going to come out from the shadows and take control, and there would be a Group 1 that was going to come up and say, "Hey, listen, we could play with the big boys." So this is going to set up a nice little storyline to see who takes control of this division.
Yeah, they're very, very interesting right there. And then the Patriot Division, Point Borough already clinched a tie. Shore beat Barnegat. Barnegat still has to play Point Borough. If Barnegat beats Point Borough, we can have a try.
Yeah,
don't rule out Asbury Park could still be changing Shore and Barnegat's.
I think this is the division that's completely. You and I cannot sign a stamp to or sign a signature to on what can happen down here between Point Borough, Shore. And then you add into the fact Asbury Park is playing the way they're playing right now with the athletes that they have on any given week. This is going to come down for the next couple of weeks to see who really steps up. This is going to be exciting to see what happens with that division.
I think Point Borough right now is sitting pretty good. And
they are.
They're going to be okay with that.
Well, they're going to have to play. They're going to have to play.
Yeah. Well, that was a quick rundown of all the divisions and how the races are going. It'll get a little more clearer after this week's games, and we can talk a little bit more who clinched the title, who won the title as we near the end of the season with that, Coach. Okay, now during our coaches talk, I'm proud that we have one of the surprise football teams, head football coach, Coach Jason Dagato, Marlboro Mustangs head football coach. Coach, thank you for coming on our show today and talk about Mustang football.
Not a problem at all, man. I'm excited to be here, honestly.
Awesome, Coach. You know Coach Dagato, right, Coach Hoadley, from the past?
Coach Dagato is one of the good guys of a short conference
Oh,
football,
yeah.
and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I remember scrimmaging him back, with Mater Dei back in 2015 and 14, and you could see the culture that Coach Dagato was going to be bringing on the field with the enthusiasm, how the players were starting to rally around him, the intensity of what he was bringing with his team, and it's all starting to come to fruition right now. I really can't say enough about Coach J. What he means to the Marlboro school and to the Freehold School District. What he's done with that team, and I can't say enough I'm so happy for him with Marlboro and what they're accomplishing this year. I really mean that.
Coach, this is your 9th season. You were a head football coach at 29 years old, and I too. We used to scrimmage back in the day and got a lot of respect for your program and how you run it, and your players played hard and you were physical. I didn't like playing against them because you knew we liked to RPO and throw it. Stop trying to hit us. Very physical. He runs power. All the time. I don't know if I'm giving any secrets out, but huddles out,
those
Coach.
are not state secrets.
All right, but 29 years old as a head football coach, and love seeing it. I love seeing you grow as a coach to now you're not 29 anymore. You're getting older. Okay. Yeah. All right. There's other 29-year-old coaches out there. You're not 29 anymore. Take us back to when you were 29 though. Where did you see the program at? When you gave your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan to your athletic director, where was your view back in the day?
So, going way back then, I really think my first goal was to try and establish some consistent competitiveness in the team. We'd have, previously we'd have a lot of 0-10 years, 1-9 year, maybe get a couple of wins here and there, and then, the bottom would fall out again. And I wanted to kind of get rid of that whole bottom falling out thing and try and be consistently competitive. So that was really like step one, and then to do that, part of that was, try and increase enrollment in the program, try and create some traditions within the program and some actual feelings like it's a thing that kids want to be a part of. And, they like those traditions and kids come back and they remember those things that give them memories, and that'll help increase that enrollment. And that's those kinds of things about really establishing a program. And then, from an X's and O's points, getting your philosophies together, getting your systems together, those kinds of things. And really early, those first couple of years, those are things you want to establish your off-season regimen and how important that is to the kids, and establish networks within the town and all those, and, with your AYF programs and all those different things. Really, that's what those early years are about. You're talking about a program that you were taking over that, it's not like, traditional powerhouse and you're kind of just the guy who's supposed to come in and keep it rolling. This is kind of more of a ground up type of build.
Baby steps, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was baby steps, becoming consistently competitive, creating that buy-in and then, eventually taking that next step.
Coach, that's great take on that stuff, because it's interesting. The guys that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, 9 years ago, how old were they? They were what? 8, 9 years old?
5, 6, 7, 8 years old, somewhere in
there. So you're
right?
building your program up, not knowing that 9 years from now, these kids are going to play in one of the biggest games in Marlboro for the last 20 years, so to speak, right there. But Coach, I mean, seeing you grow and the teams that you've played in the past were very, very tough, physical football powers, right, Coach?
The Middletown Souths and Alpins of the world, played them over the years, But it was honestly huge growing experience for me playing teams like that, because those teams were so well coached. And so not only were they talented, they were just so well coached that it was like really eye-opening to see your own holes.
You grow as a coach. I agree.
Grow as, finding out, oh man, I got beat by this, and this. Like I have to think about my coaching and fix that. And, it really helps you grow.
Coach,
helps you self-evaluate what you need to do. Yep.
That was 9 years ago. I'm going to fast forward now to this year. And now you came into this season, you were very excited because we talked in the offseason. You told me you had a bunch of dudes. And again, you said the names and it kind of didn't stick with me. But now I'm like looking at my notes going, yeah, those are the kids. And
Right.
Coach, just a couple of guys I want to talk about. Senior Zach Mendez, junior Ryan Mendez. They're both dual threat guys. I mean, Ryan's a receiver, outside linebacker. Zach's a running back and a linebacker. AJ Schwartz is a DB and a quarterback. And Matt Cassidy is a running back and a safety. Those are your athletes. Now, Coach Hoadley, you know as well as I do, there are 2 linemen out there that are very good football players.
I mean, obviously, the type of old school mentality that I have sometimes, I know coaches really have a special defensive lineman in Andrew Valinsky, who's a senior defensive end that lines up with Marlboro, as well as Mike Giancastro, a senior guard that he has on the offensive line that plays both ways as well, which obviously helps, the Schwartz, the Mendez brothers, be able to achieve what they need to do. So it's all coming together for Coach Dagato and the Stangs with that. So if you want to touch on those players really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Andrew's an interesting guy. So I remember, Andrew played for us as a sophomore, and then, that was 2019. So going into 2020, he was a JV kid in 19. Going into 2020, COVID hits, and Andrew was having a really good offseason in the weight room, but then he had an unfortunate accident in which he broke his femur. So he wasn't going to be able to play in 2020, and that kind of stunk. And then all of a sudden, again, it's COVID, so you don't see anybody, who's in, who's out.
Right.
He was out for a while with his leg, and then all of a sudden one day I see him in the hallways, and he went from like 5'10" to 6'2", and he leaned out and he looked great. And I'm like, "Are you coming back this year or what?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And so just totally different kid. It's just wild having not seen him for that long. So Andrew has done a great job for us. He's got a great takeoff. He's got a big long frame. He causes a lot of problems in the backfield for people. Has a ton of TFLs. A couple of sacks to go with him. He's a real tough kid to block.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about him too is it's not just like he's a hardworking kid. I mean, he's out there every day on scout at defensive end for us, playing and making us better as an offense.
That's how you get better on offense. Yep.
Exactly. He's out there trying to give us the best look we possibly can get. And then the other one is Mike Giancastro. So the players on my team, they have a running joke. They know how much I love Mike Giancastro because that's a self-made kid. You're talking about a kid who's very undersized, but he, you could tell from early on his sophomore year, he just really took to coaching. I mean, if you'd said, as an offensive lineman, step like this, 6 inches up, 6 inches over, he was going to step exactly 6 inches up and 6 inches over.
Good.
If you told him to put his hands inside, his hands were going inside.
Yeah.
And then after that, okay, so he was a smaller guy. He gets in the weight room and he really builds up his body. He's doesn't weigh a ton, but he's, again, still a 175-pound guy, but really got strong, really worked hard on himself. So then we come out his junior year last year, 2020, and as we got into our scrimmages and our practices, he just started opening eyes. And it was like, at what point do we just look past his size and say, whatever, he's going to go in there and fight?
It's a football player. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a football player. He's going to go in. He's going to give it his all. He's going to fight people. He's going to scrap.
Yeah.
He's going to do what he's coached to do. And he's going to go to the right spot every time.
Yeah.
And, he won a two-way starting job last year as a junior. And then this year, same thing. He's got his 2 starting jobs and he became a captain. He's playing great. I mean, he's quick as lightning out there, a guard for us, does a lot of pulling. He's just a tough, hard-nosed kid that works his tail off for us.
Coach, those are 2 players that allow the next 4 guys to do what they do. You know that, right? Absolutely. You take one of those guys or both guys out, the Mendez brothers, Schwartz and Cassidy, it's a little different right there. So let's talk about those skill kids right now. First, the brothers.
Sure.
And then that quarterback who's very dynamic. He really is. And Matt Cassidy, hard hitting safety. I love them all. But I'm glad that Coach Hoadley, you brought up those 2 guys, those 2 line guys. That's on our report. It really is, Coach. Tell us a little bit about those 4 kids.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with Zach because, I think Zach is kind of the heart and soul of the team a little bit.
You think? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a definite, right? And look, we go as Zach goes. And the thing about Zach is he's a fantastic leader. He's a fantastic kid.
Good.
And he kind of embodies and projects everything that has been going on around here this year that's really made us successful. And it's really about a group of kids who have come together to play for each other, do whatever it takes for the W. They don't care if they carry the ball, catch the ball, who's scoring touchdowns. As long as we're scoring touchdowns, they just want to get the win. And,
that's nice.
It's funny to me. Anytime I go up to Zach and tell him, you're going to be blocking, his face lights up. He doesn't even care if he runs. He absolutely loves blocking. And for a kid that carries the ball like he does, it's funny to see, but that's that selflessness that embodies this team right now. That comes from him, because they know if that kid's going to run out there and block as hard as he possibly can and absolutely loves doing it, then we all better do it too.
I would love to carry the ball behind a kid that's blocking like him. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and he's a complete back in that regard. Obviously he runs the ball well, but he's a great lead blocker too.
Good.
With that being said, kind of brings me to Matt Cassidy as well.
Yep.
So look, Matty's a sophomore. He's doing a great job for us. He's a two-way starter, fullback, safety. You talked about him being a hard-hitting safety, and we discovered him pretty early in the preseason as a fullback as well.
Yeah,
we had him running some tailback stuff, and then we were looking for a fullback a little bit, so we put him in. Got him some reps, got him in a scrimmage, and boy, was he kicking people out, and we never looked back after that.
He plays like a senior. That's what he does.
Like this kid.
I agree, Coach. I agree.
Yeah.
And if he's going to hit like that, he's got to play. So, he loves opening holes for Zach. These guys, they get satisfaction from each other's success. Yeah. And he's a dynamic athlete. We run him out into the flat. He makes great catches. He does some things with the ball. He plays good defense. He comes downhill. He hits. He covers well. He's got a couple of picks. He's got some great closing speed. So he does a great job for us as well. Then you have Ryan Mendez, so we'll go to him next. That's Zach's brother. And, Ryan is just a winner. The kid's got a winning mentality. He just wants to improve every single day and get better. He just wants to do everything he can to help the team. He's fantastic at linebacker, another kid with great closing speed, good tackler, great instincts, finds a way to the football. At receiver, he's very dynamic. Now, we don't throw a ball a ton. But when he does get his catches, he makes the most of them, absolutely. But he's also willing to get out there and mix it up and block for us as well.
Before you get to your quarterback, Coach, I got to ask you.
Sure.
A, who drives on the way home from practice? And B, what is the car ride home with the Mendez brothers?
Uber driver.
Yeah, right. So Zach is obviously the driver. But the two of them are funny. They have their friendly brotherly competition, but there's all love there between those two guys. But they have the competitiveness when first game Zach scored 3 touchdowns and Ryan's like, I had 1 too. So they got that kind of stuff going on. But they're both great kids. And just a little more about Ryan too. One of the amazing things about me is I think it was after our Neptune game. The next day, he sends me a message with 3 criticisms of himself that he got off watching film. And,
wow.
And like that right there just kind of speaks to who he is. And they were spot on too. The 3 criticisms that he had of himself that he really needed to. I mean, they were spot on. Like, that was literal coach speak that he had nailed down. So
that's a coach's dream.
Yeah, I mean, that was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Again, just a winner's mentality like that. Just always looking to improve. And then AJ, AJ is same kind of kid, man, just a winner's mentality. He's always excited at practice. He loves getting after it, loves trying to improve, loves the game. I mean, he's constantly having fun out there. And he's another guy that kids look up to. He makes a lot of big plays. He's got leadership qualities. He's the type of guy to get kids going. Kids rally around him. He's selfless. Even just something as little as, for example, we had our senior day this past Saturday against Freehold Township, and AJ is one of our captains as a junior, and he approached me midweek and said, Coach, why don't you, instead of me going out for the coin toss, I'm a junior, why don't you let an extra senior go out this week? And that's a quarterback. I mean, that's a leader. Exactly. That's a selfless kid who, again, just wants to win and play for his brothers, and that's really all they are. And again, AJ is clearly a dynamic athlete. He went for over 100 yards this past week.
Yeah.
He does a good job throwing the ball for us. He takes care of the football. And at safety, he's got a couple of picks. He's got a good amount of tackles, and overall, just a great kid.
Coaches, it doesn't surprise me. You're saying these great things about these kids, and there's a reason why you're undefeated. Right. You are what you are wherever you are, and you have great kids on and off the field. Coach, that takes us to this season. Your scrimmages, the word was out. You guys were doing very well. I know you played Vianney, Raritan East, and it kind of translated into the season. Did you imagine that you would be at this place right now at 3-0 playing in this big game that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes?
So kind of funny story, I guess. Maybe we'll get into this later, but I actually live in town in Bayville with Central. So Coach Pigeon had a youth camp over the summer, and my son, is his first time ever playing tackle ball. So I said, I'm going to bring him. Why not? So one of the last things I said to Coach Pigeon as I was leaving the field is I said, Coach, I'll see you here in October, hopefully for the division title.
Wow.
And it's funny because back then I had no idea. I hadn't seen the kids in so long. We were still in July practicing. It was, finally, so throughout the year.
Post-COVID.
Yeah, so we couldn't live throughout the year, and it was like I didn't really know where we were going to be. Then as we got into our scrimmages, I think our first scrimmage, we had a tough time with Vianney a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it kind of flipped the switch for our kids. It was like they kind of saw on the other side, the emotion you have to play with and how fiery you have to be and how you really have to get after it.
Yeah, they're like that.
Yep. And once they saw that, they were like, all right, I'm going to do that too. I can do that too. And the next scrimmage, man, they just came out all smiles, hooting, hollering. I mean, they were screaming about extra points, field goals, kickoff team, punt return team. I mean, they were going bananas, and it worked out. We had a very successful scrimmage, and they've kind of carried that attitude ever since, just loving the game and playing it with passion and with a chip on your shoulder and being excited for your teammates.
That's awesome. That really is awesome. Coach, there's a big storyline leading up to this game on Friday night. Really is. Think of it. You have the Papalia brothers. Frank Papalia, who's the OC at Central, doing a fantastic job. And then you have Jim Papalia, who's been a long-time loyal assistant coach with you guys. So within their household, it must be not talking on the phone. Or I would love to hear those two guys talk about their stuff. And you being an alumni, coming back to Central and playing in a game, you living in town too with that. And, and Coach Pigeon in his second year, there's just so many great storylines from both ends with that. And two good guys, two programs that everybody is excited for, really, in the short conference. And a lot of eyes are going to be on this game Friday. It really is, and rightfully so. It's a big game. There's no way about it. The winner will be the champion for the division, Coach. Tell me about the hallways in Marlboro. Tell me about the hallways in Marlboro, because you haven't been 4-0 since 1999. So there's got to be some type of excitement going on in the hallways. Tell me about that, your community.
Yeah, they're buzzing. No doubt about it. The hallways are buzzing. I mean, it's really been buzzing since that probably a little bit before the Mattawan game, and then, people saw like, okay, it's real, and then the buzz has just continued and really grown. There's a buzz throughout the hallways. Kids are excited. Obviously, the team is excited.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers, staff, administration, everybody's very excited. Throughout the halls of Marlboro. Like you said, it's a unique position for us. We haven't been here in a very long time. There's only one other division title in program history. So they have the opportunity to play for it. Everybody recognizes.
Was that with Coach Zadilla?
I believe, 94 with Coach
94, that was a special team. They won a state championship there, yes.
Yep.
Good, Coach. You remember Coach Zadilla. Yeah. Coach, Coach, you got anything? Because I got a couple more things about it. You got anything?
I'm just taking it from a coach's perspective. I love seeing the smile on Coach Dagato's face, because I know what he's gone through with that program to be able to create the culture and the mission statement of what he's done with that. I mean, I know what type of man he is, first and foremost. He's one of the really, truly good guys at a short conference. And the number one thing that I keep hearing about that's coming out, it's about selflessness, and it's about team mentality that's coming out with that team right now. I mean, and that echoes exactly from Jason all the way down through his staff, and obviously through the Mustang football program. And listen, Mustang Marlboro AYF programs are really good football programs. So to be able to keep those kids in town, bring them through the culture, which I'm sure Jason's been down there himself trying to bring the kids in, trying to teach them the culture of what's going on with Mustang football. It's really exciting. And to obviously there's so much notoriety that's given, to the Donovan Catholics, the RBCs, the Rumson Fair. But to see Central Regional in Marlboro this week come at it, that's such a great story for short conference football. I'm excited so much to see how that game plays out. And again, I can't say congratulations enough, Coach, what you do, over the last 9 years. I truly mean that. I applaud you, what you've done. Kudos to what's going on.
Coach, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Coach, I want to talk briefly about the game a little bit right now on the other side, because you're going against a team now that's 4-0, that's playing at a high level like yourself. And, they were 3-4 last year to where they are 4-0 now, and winning a division title is going to happen within the next, 70-something hours. It's incredible. They have Chase Gumbrett, 1,192 yards. The addition of Frank Papalia as the offensive coordinator has been great. They're the number 2 offense in the whole Shore. Now, defensively, you're in the top 15 defensively too. So something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Was the first week that Central Regional gave up points.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, do you find that? Are you guys up for the challenge to? Because right now nobody stopped Central's offense, especially Chase at running back, and that's he's a special back right now. So
look, the kid's a great player. You can't deny that, and we know going into this thing, to have any chance, we're gonna have to stop him. We're gonna have to be the team that steps up and gets it done. So that, don't get me wrong, that's a huge focus of ours in practice. Is we got to find a way to stop this kid. Look, you said it yourself. It's a good football team over there. You don't win games the way they're winning games if you're not a good football team. So that's a good football team. They got a lot of good players. It's not just Gumbrecht. You have the Musso kid. He's a very good football player. They have some good linemen out there that are doing a good job as well for them. At the end of the day, that's the big challenge, right? Something's got to give. So, our defense plays pretty well. We tackle pretty well. That kid runs the ball fantastic. So, our goal is obviously to get him and not let him run for, 250 and 5 touchdowns that he's been doing these past couple of weeks. And that's the challenge that's been issued to our kids, and they're taking it personally. They're excited about the challenge, as is our coaching staff. That's why you do this. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be a challenge, and it's supposed to be, you have fun game planning, and you have fun practicing for it and getting ready and preparing. And, let's see what the results are Friday night.
And Coach,
if it was easy, Coach, everybody would succeed.
Exactly. And, and on the flip side of it, they have a great defense. Like you said yourself, they've only given up points 1 week the entire season.
They're number 2 in offense and defense statistically. Yep. But with that being done said, you're also equally you have a very good run game.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. They're very good on the defense. Something's got to give. You have athletes. They have athletes. I'm very intrigued about this game. I really am, Coach. Coach Hoadley and myself were talking about this earlier, that, this is a really, really big game, and big stars will come out. Who's going to be the better team on Friday is going to be up to those players we talked about, or the players we talked about for Central. Really good. It's going to be a big crowd. That going into Central.
Yeah, I should have some family and friends there, I think, too. So, so obviously being around here, and my family will be there. Have some friends there as well. I know awesome. a lot of family from Marlboro will be coming down as well for their.
That's awesome.
I guess that's the one benefit of living in town is, it's an easy ride for a lot of people to get to. For to be able to check out this game, and there's a lot at stake, so they're excited to check it out too.
I'm excited. The Shore Football Report is excited. This is a big game. 2 undefeated teams. Someone's going to come out with a championship on Friday. Coach Jason Dagato, I want to thank you for coming on our show today. Taking time on a Tuesday, which I'm sure you're watching film when you get off right here, right?
Install
Oh,
day.
absolutely.
Install day.
Install day.
Yeah, big time.
Hey, it's install for us too, Coach, with the Shore Football Report. We're installing this. All right,
true.
Coach.
You got to keep yourselves busy, right?
Oh, it's awesome.
We're
Coach,
trying. We're trying.
Very proud of you guys, over at
Appreciate it.
Marlboro. Keep it going. Keep it rolling. 2 good teams, 2 good coaches. I have a lot of respect for both of you guys. It's very, very exciting time for not only you guys, but the Shore Conference to have you guys shining. You have a lot to play for, but enjoy the moment on Friday night. You have the whole season to go for your goals that you know that you want this year. Coach, you got anything else?
Congratulations so far, Coach, on the season. But, obviously we've been around the game. Take a breath Friday night and enjoy the moment around you. I mean, it's special when you get started to play in those games, and really you deserve it. I mean that.
Yeah.
I think I may have to take that one to heart and really slow down and give my son and daughter a hug real quick before the game, before we get rolling. But I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Coach, thank you very much for coming on the show, and best of luck to your Friday night. All right, let's go. We got some games to talk about, Coach. 1 and 3 Point Beach at Pinelands, who's 1 and 2. Go ahead. I'll let you take the lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big game. Now we're talking towards state, where we're going to fall amongst, obviously between Point Beach, the Gulls, and the Cats of Pinelands. Having to make that travel, it's not as far. Obviously, Point Beach coming from exit 98 down the Pinelands here, but both coming off, losses last week. This is a tough game to pick. Pinelands is going to try to control the ball on playing at a phone booth, so to speak, where Point Beach is starting to show strides of where the program's going in the future. So this is going to be a tough game to call right here.
Point Beach and Pinelands, both defensive-minded coaches. Pinelands is a Group 3 school. Point Beach is Group 1. It's real simple with that. But I think that Pinelands' philosophy and their depth of their program might be a problem for Point Beach, who's going to scrap and fight and claw and do all the right things and all that. It's just an uphill battle when you're playing Group 3 schools. It really is. So Pinelands came off a real close game playing Keyport, and I think they're itching for a win. They really are, Coach. Number 3, Lakewood at Keensburg, 2 and 2 Keensburg. Keensburg right now needs this game big time to solidify themselves in the state playoffs, because it's very competitive now in Group 1 now that Shore Regional is also in the mix there with Asbury Park and all that too. So Keensburg's got to come up with a very big win against a scrappy Lakewood team. Michael Brathaw I think he's going to have a big game this game. I really think that he's going to have a breakout game, and he's going to show people why he was Player of the Year defensively for their division last year.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep on Coach L.J. Smith with Lakewood, what's going on here. But I think, obviously Keensburg with a good bounce-back win, putting him back at 500 this week and looking at a Group 3 team. There was so many more power points on there because, like you said, to be able to keep up with the Keyports, the Asburys, and so on, to be able to get themselves into the state playoff ranking and possibly a home game. This is a big game. And listen, Keensburg's a tough place to play. They're at home. It's a long ride for Lakewood. Keensburg's going to be in the game right here.
Big game, Coach. Big game next. And as I do, number 3 and 1 Monmouth playing 4 and 0 Keyport. A lot of star power in this game. There really is. I'm going to start with one. He's kind of a sleeper out there. Anthony Gent. He's leading the Shore Conference in passing with 733 yards, 9 touchdowns, thrown to a bunch of weapons out there. And we all know about DJ Thompson, and we know about George Mitchell, and, of course, Nazir Treadwell, right?
Yeah.
They got some talent, too. But Monmouth has got a lot of athletes, too, that are making names. Julian Jones, the running back, linebacker. There's a lot of star power in this divisional big key game. 2 teams that are undefeated in their division, Coach. It's going to be an exciting time at Keyport. What do you think?
This is the divisional game right now. I will be at this game on Saturday at Keyport.
Good.
And let me tell you something. When Keyport Town gets behind their football program and they start winning, That's a great atmosphere. The fire trucks will be down there. They'll have the sirens blowing. This is going to be a great Saturday shore conference matchup from a Group 3 team coming down to impose their will to the Group 1 team that's always been a staple to be able to be a powerhouse in the division. Something's got to give.
Yeah.
This is going to be a great Saturday game.
Yeah, it really will. Exciting time, Coach. 1-3 Jackson Liberty at 1-3 Manchester. Both teams need this win to really kind of try and get close to even out their record. Manchester's had some tough games. They have talent in the perimeter. They're really young football team around some of the stars they have. We all know Savon Myers, one of the top quarterbacks out there. Damari Brown, two-way threat as a receiver and a safety. There is a kicker, Evan Wenner, 6'4", 6'5" kid, is probably the best, one of the best in the shore. Maybe it might come down to that, but Jackson Liberty had a couple guys out the last 2 weeks. Their guys are coming back, so very closely located football schools. A little bit of a rivalry right there. You never know what happens, but I'll tell you, both programs need a win and need a win bad right now.
Yeah, now we're getting to this part where we're in week 5 right now as coaches.
Yeah.
We start looking a little bit towards what's going on down the future. Where is our team? This is a must-win game for both programs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So there's going to be a lot of pride. There's going to be a lot of schematics being taught by the coaches this week, and obviously the locker room talk that goes on before we get out to the field to be taking on a team. This can be an emotional game, telling the players, listen, we have to sell out for 48 minutes in this game.
Now, you got two teams playing in the next game, 2-2 Asbury Park versus 3-1 Barnegat, where this is a huge game for both teams.
I circled this game as one of the games of the week right here.
Because both teams have big playoff picture. Asbury Park's Group 1, Barnegat's Group 2.
Yeah.
Whoever wins takes a big step into that surge of playoff teams. They really do. Big game for both. And both teams have a lot of talent, a lot of skill guys. I'm excited to see that game. I really, really am. Asbury Park's got Riley Stevens, a sophomore, who's blossomed into a big-time football player within that division. He really is. And Barnegat's got a kid. Barnegat's got some DBs, and Shakeith Gordon, Logan Krudel, going to be covering those wide receivers. Asbury Park's got the best receivers in that division. Barnegat may have the better DBs in that division. It's going to be a really good matchup right there. It's going to be a packed house on homecoming, and it's going to be state playoff atmosphere. And
I think it's going to come down to the two running backs. It's going to come down to Deshaun Carter from Asbury, who had 243 yards rushing last week and 3 touchdowns, and JoJo Bibbins from Barnegat. I think that's going to come down to which running back steps up with their offensive line to control the line of scrimmage and break off big yards, control the ball. I think that's where it's going to go. But this is a really, really, really good football game.
Yeah, you're right. 2 of the top running backs in the Shore Conference, not just the division. JoJo's third in the Shore. And you have Asbury Park's Deshaun Carter, who is 8th in the Shore. So there's going to be a lot of yardage being on. So putting a lot of stress on the defense. But 2 good football teams and a playoff atmosphere in Old Barnegat right there. Number 2-2, Matawan at Freehold Township, who's 0-4. Freehold Township needs a win big time. Coach Davies and his program played really, really good football last week against an undefeated Marlboro football team. Matawan, scrappy young football team. This could be a big game for Matawan. If they can come out with a win against Freehold Township, you're sitting 3-2 and sitting pretty good with maybe a playoff appearance, which would make Coach Graber's season. It really would. A lot of star power in this game, too, with Matawan. Matawan's quarterback, Bernaga, 692 yards and 4 touchdowns, throws to many different receivers out there. David Anua, the running back, linebacker, outstanding football player, two-way kid, an all-short type of football player. He's doing real good. Freehold Township, it's got younger kids in a lot of positions, and they need a win big time. They really do, Coach.
Yeah, I think you said it best that Mattawan playing. They're young with Coach Graver. They got a signature win week 1. Another great win this week against Neptune. They're sitting 500 right now. Another big win puts them in a playoff picture where they can get a playoff game this year. Freehold Township's playing for pride right now.
Yeah.
They're trying to do something with their program to show that they continue on. But Madawan's got a lot to play for this week.
They really do. Jackson, 0-4 Jackson versus Homedale, 1-3. Now, these are two teams that have solid football programs that have played outstanding football teams.
Yeah.
And their record is reflective of a tough schedule. Now they're going to start playing each other and then some different kind of teams, and the wins are going to start happening because both teams were in the top 20 in the beginning of the year, rightfully so. And, it's just that they've been playing some stiff competition, Coach. Jackson with Eric Eby and a D-line, O-line. You got Ty Mann. You have Albert D'Alessandro and Hernandez. Just athletes right there in Homedale with Gallo, Sordo.
Yep.
And then Battaglia. They got some guys too, and somebody's going to get a well-deserved win here.
And you get the Gallo kid and the Sorno kid over on Homedale. I really dread trying to pick this game right here. Because both teams, like you just said, are products of the schedule that they've been given this year. They're both very good football programs, great coaching staffs, and great culture. They've played such a tough schedule this year, and now they're playing they're playing each other where now they could come out this week preaching at practice, hey, this is our season. This is where we can show what type of team we're made up of, and I'm sure with, Coach Oz and Coach Rannis, that's what probably they're preaching this year. Say, listen, now we have a shot to show what our moxie is this week.
I know you get one game pass. I'm curious to see which one. This could be one of them.
This might be one of them.
Yeah. Now, Ocean, I think, one of the most dangerous 0-4 football teams out there. Ocean Big Red versus the Bricktown Dragons, who is the 17th ranked football team. They're coming in at a quiet 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only saying that, it's crazy because they lost to Lacey, and then they went on a 3-game winning streak, and they also beat their crosstown rival. But they're quiet. They're 3-1.
Yep.
Now, this team right here was in the top 20 solid in the beginning of the year, and now they're creeping back in, and maybe they're going to go on a run. I know they're a veteran football team. They're physical, and they got a bunch of bodies that could kind of fill in at other skilled positions. They're an interesting team that needs this win to make a big surge for the state playoffs. They really do. And Ocean needs a win. They're just young guys that are working their tails off every week in practice in the games, and they got athletes that maybe might be 1 year away in some people's minds, but I wouldn't want to play them. I wouldn't want to play Ocean.
Yeah, the two cliff notes on this game is 17th ranked Dragons, do they just impose their will on what they're doing right now with putting their hand on the ground and run the football? Or does Ocean rise up? Do they rise up because they know they've been competitive in games and they're playing tough football? So that'll be the storyline out of that game.
Yep. Now, we have two quarterbacks. We have a sophomore quarterback going against a senior quarterback. 1-2 Brick Memorial versus number 14th ranked Middletown North, who are 2-1. Tommy Giannone, the senior, the 6'4" quarterback that had an outstanding game last game, having multiple touchdown game. One of the top passers in the shore. He's right now 5th in yardage at 633 with 6 touchdowns. I love Coach Bush's spread offense where dinks and doinks and runs all these misdirectional plays against Connor Dietz and Brick Memorial, who's a sophomore, dual threat kid that's really making a name for himself, and he's on the radar right now as one of the top players in the shore. Interesting. Middletown North, it's got a lot of veteran kids, though. A lot of veteran kids.
I think you said it where everyone sees it on paper. Brick Memorial with Dietz at quarterback and Tommy Giannone at Middletown North. I think the real big asterisk of this game is going to be Brian Haddow, the running back from Middletown North. Receptions out of the backfield running the ball with their zone offense that they have over there.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is where Middletown North really starts to move to the next level. I'm not giving my pick.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, obviously coaching against them last year, I know what they impose over there, especially with Coach Bush's offense, like you just said, great with the bubble screens, tunnel screens, getting you to spread your defense out wide, then coming back in with inside zone is and ahs. I think Hadow is going to be the key of this game.
Coach, these two teams both played Red Bank Catholic in consecutive weeks. So they get out of that, and who do they play next? Each other.
Each other, yeah.
So you got number 13 Manasquan versus number 20 Raritan. And they both played RBC consecutive weeks, and now they play each other. I mean, it's just brutal. It's just brutal. Two traditional state power football programs playing each other at Raritan. Both really need a win to keep their hopes up of not just being in the playoffs, being a high seed in the playoffs.
Correct.
Both teams do get those magnifying PowerPoints, so they got the multiplier. So they're going to be sitting okay in terms of, having those quality type of points right there. Now the wins start coming in, and that's when they start getting a away game to a home game. First game.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Coach. They're both Group 2, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean.
No, Manasquan, I believe, is 3 now.
They're 3 this year. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Raritan went to 2. And you don't know if you're central or south until they cut it out
correct,
later.
Where the dividing goes.
Again, that's just another talk with that. But
I mean, Raritan, make no mistake about it, Raritan has to come back with a big win after the last 2 weeks here. They're home on a Friday night. It's a Manasquan team, obviously, that ran into a buzzsaw. What happened last week. Coach Sell's offense is Coach Sell's offense. I mean, they got stifled last week, but obviously the first 3 games they were running what's going on with Manasquan. This is going to be a tough game. Raritan's going to have to really come up and play when you start talking about PowerPoints, state aspirations, where you're going to go, hopefully to get a home field advantage and be able to get that first game at home. So,
Coach, I love the fact that both quarterbacks are dual threats. Ben Hutchins of Raritan can do it all in the triple option, and Patton and Manasquan could do it. And both teams can run and pass. So both offenses are pretty dynamic. So it should be very interesting over there at Raritan on Friday night. Toms River South 1-3 versus 3-1 Frio Borough. Frio Borough's tough. Frio Borough's the 12th ranked team in the short conference right now. And Kamar Gill is as electrifying as anybody in the short conference. And their schemes are so much different than anybody else. It's so hard to prepare for them from 1 week to the next because it's just, just different schemes.
You just can't duplicate it at all. During the week of practice, Coach, you and I both know you can't duplicate that with a scout offense. You just can't.
Nope. No. So, I mean, they have a bunch of weapons, as well as I do. Tyler, their Mike linebacker, Tyler, is one of the best in the short conference. Yep, he really is. Toms River South is a little banged up. They have one of the best returners, though, in the short conference. Devin Bond returned another touchdown for kick return against St. John Vianney. That's his second of the year. But Frio Borough just has athletes on the perimeter, and their schemes are tough to defend. That's going to be a tough one for Toms River South to play at Frio Borough, Coach.
I agree.
You have Howell 0-3. Bill Hill is looking for his first win, going against Coach Frasillo and number 11, Lacey Lions, who are 2-1. Lacey's tough to beat at home. They really are. Howell's hungry for a win. First-year coach, first-year program together. They have athletes. They really do, Coach. I do really like their quarterback. Howells. Jordan, 333 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Can throw the football. Got athletes out there. But Lacey is a tough football team, offensively and defensively. And they're a senior-laden football team. And they're on a mission to do well and win the division and also go far in the state playoffs. They really are. Very solid football team.
Yeah, I think Lacey battling last week for the majority of the game showed what type of team that Coach Versillo has this year. So this week coming up, again, you stated it, Howell having to go to Lacey. This is going to be a tough game for the Rebels of Howell to be able to go down there. If Lacey does what they do, Lacey's going to be okay.
Now, probably the game of the week for many places out there. You have two undefeated teams in the division. You have number 16 ranked Marlboro 3-0 versus number 10 ranked Central 4-0. Both teams are not used to being ranked so high. They're both undefeated, and I say go with the fumes and keep going. And it's like a Cinderella season for both. Coach Pigeon, in his second year, has already got them at a high level right now, and Coach Dagato has got Marlboro, who has not been 3-0 for years. So that's scary when you have two programs like that who are there and don't want to fall down. They're going to be playing with a lot of emotion on Friday, Coach. Really will.
Yeah, I mean, I love this game. I love the fact that Central and Lacey are being talked about, that this is possibly a game of the week. What's going on with Chase Gumbrecht coming out of Central Regional doing what they're doing, and Marlboro is it's such a great story to see Marlboro really starting to succeed. What's going on with Coach Dagato, who's one of the great ambassadors of Shore Conference and what he's been able to do, fighting the good fight, and then see it start to pay off with the Mustangs right now. This is a great game to see. A great game to see the outcome. It should be a great football game.
Coach, the one thing I like about Chase Gumphrey is not only he's run for 1,192 yards, he's averaging 10.74 yards. So he's not working as hard with a lot of carries. He's getting a lot of yardage with that. And Zach Mendez and Chase, two star power guys, it's going to be a good game. There's some storyline stuff, though. The Papalia brothers. You have Frank Papalia, and Jim Papalia of Marlboro playing. Yep. You got Dagato, who's from Central and lives in town. So, I mean, it's like everybody's familiar with each other, and just makes up for a lot of excitement in the stands and on the field. It really does, and I'm excited. I wish I could clone myself to go other places.
Yeah, that's a great game to be at. Yep.
I got to clone somebody and wear a Hawaiian shirt and do that. It would be tough, but I'm trying to figure out how to clone myself with that. But that's going to be a great game in Bayville. Two top 20 teams going at it. Number 1 and 3, Tom River East versus the hot football team from Long Branch. Number 8, 3-0, Long Branch, Green Wave. Just
led by Christian Rodriguez.
Again, they're going to go as far as he can go. They're dynamic receivers they have, and those receivers play DBs too. So they just have athletes all around. They had a great summer with 7-on-7s, and they're now playing and taking it to the season. That's really great to see, because I love when people go, "Oh, it's 7-on-7s. They're not. It doesn't mean nothing." Well, apparently it does. Apparently it does. I really believed in the beginning of the year when Long Branch said they were going to win this for Coach George. This might be a Cinderella season where you can end it with a championship and all that stuff. And Long Branch is looking for even bigger things. They don't want just a division championship. They want the big chip for the state championship.
It's a great Shore Conference story because how close Coach George is, that we both know as a person, not just as a coach, what he instills with his young men. Utmost respect for him. And you can truly and honestly see how his players are playing for him. I mean, this is a great Shore Conference story. Toms River East has a little bit of an uphill climb right here, having to go to the Green Wave and have to play this game. So we'll see how it plays out.
Wouldn't that be great if Long Branch wins the championship and Coach George goes, you know what? I'm going to stay, guys. What? That would be great. That would be great. But you never know. You never know. Coach, the number 6 and number 7th ranked football teams playing. Colts Neck is 3-0 now. They got that win back, playing against Wall, who's the 7th seed, and 1-2. Wall is scary. Wall is scary. They got their guys back. Charlie Sasso came back, probably playing one side of the ball like he did last week.
Colin Riley back.
Colin Riley is back. Again, how quickly people forgot this team right here was the short conference tournament champions. They were undefeated, and they were number one in the state of New Jersey last year with probably 95% of their players back. Listen, in their minds, they probably hit rock bottom going 0-2. Injuries, all that, whatever it is. And now we're going to see the real test of what their team's made up of. And last week, they put a pretty good showing against Tom Drury North. This could be another statement game. Another statement game.
Yeah, the two things to look at with this is, A, Colts Neck gets a reprieve from the game before, obviously, against Donovan Catholic, which we spoke of about at length before, who's going to try to put the football, the hands down on the ground and run the ball. But Wall now being back at full strength, and I know from a fact coaching against him last year, 9 out of 11 returning starters back on that defense, obviously being healthy last week, pitching a 36-0 shutout against a good Toms River North team. This is going to be a really intriguing game. What's going to go on
Colts
right
Neck
now.
is physical. Colts Neck's physical. So's Wall.
Yeah,
somebody's got to give.
Yeah,
somebody's got to give.
It's a great old school football game right here.
And Coach, our rankings. When you're playing teams that are close in your rankings, it usually comes down to the wire.
100%.
Yep. Now, 2 top 10 teams, 2-1, number 9 ranked Manalapan versus the number 4 Southern Regional Rams, who are undefeated at 3-0. Manalapan could throw a monkey wrench into this by beating Southern, all right, and then Southern beating Middletown South. So Manalapan still in the hunt with the division championship, just losing last week, 13-7 at overtime. They're a scary football team, and them too had a great offseason during the summer with Coach LeBoer. So we knew this was going to happen with Manalapan, and now it's happening. Playing a very, very tough Southern Regional football program. Tough game. Again, I wish I can go to this game.
And huge power points right here, both Group 5 powers.
Yeah.
I mean, where it's going to come down to for state playoffs, what's going to go on here. And having to travel all the way down, what is it? I believe exit 63 for Southern Regional. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's your neck of the woods.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's a long ride right there. I mean, Manalapan, tight overtime loss to a Middletown South team that's now ranked, in the top 5.
Yep.
To go against Southern Regional, which is ranked number 4, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a really tough game.
So you got Jaden Brown, Nate Committee, physical presence, both sides of the football, going against Elijah Marquez, Heckle, the quarterback, and a bunch of receivers. And again, when I think of Manalapan, I think of their front line, all their linemen back and all that. Just solid unit of guys. It's going to be a very good football game.
And here's the key, if I may say so. I don't know if Southern Regional has been battle tested yet. Manalapan, obviously playing to an overtime 6-point loss to Middletown South. They showed they could play in a tough game.
No, Southern Regional
don't know which way it's going to go.
Southern Regional had pulled a couple kids out during late in the games and all that, and they haven't rode the horse, so to speak, Southern yet with Jaden Brown. I would love to see what he does with 30-plus carries.
Yep.
Or the other team wouldn't like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, interesting game right here. How does Donovan Catholic?
Extremely interesting game.
How does Donovan Catholic bounce back? It's going to be very important to see this. Number 3 ranked Donovan Catholic. I can't believe I'm saying it, but they're 0-4 in terms of their record, playing St. John Vianney, the 18th ranked team, who's 2-2.
Who's riding the hot streak?
I'm curious how Donovan Catholic comes out of the gates, because if they come out fired up after the way they played against Colts Neck, but when you're dealing with high school kids, 15, 16, 17, you don't know what the mindset is. You really don't.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be very interesting. St. John Vianney lost a couple close games in the beginning of the year. They think they should have been 4-0.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big statement game for them, Vianney. They want to prove that.
It's at SJV.
St. John Vianney, it really is. So this game here is circled on my schedule right here. I'm very curious to see how Donovan Catholic comes out against a good St. John Vianney team. A good St. John Vianney team.
And coach, huge power points in non-public group 3.
Yeah, yeah.
Huge power points right here.
Yes, it is. It really is. So that'll be a good game there over at the St. John Vianney Field. Now, 2-2 Red Bank at number 2 Red Bank Catholic, who is 4-0.
And what is it the battle of, Coach?
The River.
The Battle of River Road. Good job, Coach. Good job.
Yeah, good. Well, I know this is going to be a tough one, though, for Coach Fallon and Red Bank, playing RBC, who is playing at a high level. It really is going to be tough. I know you get those multiplier points, but they also come with Band-Aids. And I know as well as, when we played you guys, we were undefeated, and I lost my all-shore tight end from Morris. Morris, who's playing at Holy Cross.
I remember.
That was huge, Coach. Yes, thank you for the multipliers.
I remember.
But great not thank you for
too.
What?
Great defensive end as well.
It stinks because, RBC is playing at another level, and they're going straight for that short conference tournament goal, what they want, and also the state championship. So they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. They really are. And then the last game, Toms River North is 1-2, is playing the number 1. No, they already played, did they? Who's Rumson play?
Toms River North.
Didn't they play last week?
No.
Oh. Well, this is unscripted, Coach. So I want people to hear this. I thought I made a mistake typing this, so I'm not. I just got a brain fart, and I'm like, wait a minute. It's like
Toms River North.
I was in my head going, didn't they just play a good team? Yeah, they played this team, they played that team. Well, they're playing Rumson. They're 1-2. The North is playing the number 1 ranked team, Rumson, 3-0. I think I have a concussion. I really think so. But listen, we talked about this.
I don't know. I don't want to know what goes on in your house here, pal. I don't want to know.
Coach, Rumson is at another level right now.
Yes.
And they are a special football team. Yeah. Coach Oz has got his hands full playing against a Rumson team, his young football team. Again, they're getting a lot of experience playing all these guys. They're playing high-level end football team. Toms River North, hang in there. You win 2 more games with those points that you just got. You're in the state playoffs. Yeah. So you better keep your head up because you're 2 games away from getting into the state playoffs. And that's the rest of the season into the pod, getting them 2 wins. Coach Oz is going to have North into the playoffs. But Rumson right now is just rolling and rolling and rolling. They really are. So
the number 1 thing the Bulldogs have to battle against, obviously with Coach Oz, what goes on with the Mariners, with TR North, we know what type of program he runs.
Mm-hmm.
But, you want to avoid the so-called trap game that we all know about here, which I don't think with the amount of reputation the coaching staff has and the culture has with the Bulldogs at Rumson Fairhaven.
Right.
But, it's at Rumson. It's a Friday night. And, again, I can't say enough. You said it ad nauseum how special Rumson is this year with what they're able to do on both sides of the ball, playing one way. The talent level they have playing on both sides of the ball. Moving forward, this, once they start doing what they need to do, it could be a very special week. But again, Toms River North is nobody to sleep on. They've already had a signature win this week, so we'll see where it plays out.
That was, Coach, I tell you one thing. When we do all the games, boy, we better hydrate and do all this stuff because it's tough. We should break it up into 4 quarters. But, Coach, that ends the show today.
That's why we're different, Coach. We give so much love and so much respect to all 42 short conference teams where other shows and other media outlets just cover the top 10 or the so-called big showcase games. Every team has a team that puts the work in, the grind in every week. They deserve the recognition of what they're playing this week, and that's why we're different.
Yep. So I want to end this, Coach, right now. I appreciate you coming on the show and have another great segment of the Shore Football Reports Weekly high school football talk show. Make sure you PR it. Send it to everybody, all your friends, families. You don't have to live in the short conference to watch our film. You can send it to everybody in the state.
Yep.
You know, if everybody in the short conference, 20 guys, all watch it and they send it to another 20 people, before you know it, we're going to get hit with over 1,000 something hits. That's our goal. That's our goal. Sponsors, I'm holding back right now because a lot of them want more in. But
I've told you that. I've told you that through text messages. I have so many people that
I'm
want
snubbing
to
them
this week. I know.
I'm going to let you know it. I'm snubbing them. I'm very good at that. All right. I give them the Heisman. I give them the Heisman right now. We're going to build our content and then we're going to do it. We have a bunch of sponsors that want in for the next couple weeks and all that, and we'll see what we can do with that. But let's sign off right now, and let's get ready to have a great, enjoyable Week 5 weekend of football games, Coach.
Week
good?
4 in the books, Week 5 coming up.
Coach Davis, Coach Hoadley, signing out. Wishing everybody the best, man. Stay healthy.